Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Sunday, the 25th of January 2026. Before we start with today's Millwall news, I must tell you about this. And this is News at Den TV. That's the name of their channel. If you don't know about News at Den is the section of the Southern News that covers Millwall and Millwall games. And after a 6-year hiatus, they have just posted a new video on the channel. So, are they back? Is this the start of things to come? A multimedia conglomerate destination. Obviously, if Millwall do get promoted, there's going to be a lot of demand around the world for, Millwall content. So, let's get in there before it's hot, hey? So, yeah. I'm telling you that. Why am I telling you this? Well, go and subscribe to them. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, watch the video, all that good stuff, like, share, subscribe, whatever, for News at Den TV. There is another channel called just News at Den, and that's something else. Now, the big news of the day, rock on Tommy. Yeah, so a new player been linked with the club, a new player. So this is from footballleagueworld.co.uk. Millwall FC, Stoke, Preston and Bristol City facing Burnley threat in transfer battle. So, Bristol City, Millwall, Preston and Stoke City are among a host of clubs who are keen on Brighton's Tommy Watson, who could leave on loan ahead of the transfer deadline. The 19-year-old came through the ranks at Sunderland, with the Seagulls agreeing a deal for the winger prior to the end of the previous campaign ahead of the summer window. Watson finished the season with the Black Cats, and he etched his name into the history books at the club by scoring the winning goal in the playoff final to take the Wearside outfit back to the Premier League. Wow. The teenager linked up with Brighton in the summer, but he's found game time hard to come by for Fabian Hurlis' side, as he's made just 6 Premier League appearances, all of which have been from the bench. Therefore, it has been reported by Team Talk, they're still going, are they, Team Talk, that the Seagulls are open to letting Watson leave on a loan in the next week. The update claims that Bristol City, Millwall, Preston and Stoke are all looking to bring the player to the Championship, although it's going to be very difficult to do a deal. That's because they also state Burnley are keen on Watson, whilst there's also interest from clubs in Portugal, France and Germany, so competition for his signature is fierce. Unsurprisingly, it's said that Brighton will prioritise game time for Watson when they decide on his next club, so that will encourage clubs in the Championship. If any of the 4 clubs mentioned do manage to bring Watson in, you would have to say that it would be an excellent signing. Even though he is still relatively inexperienced, Watson has had a taste of Championship football in his career, and he showed enough during his time with Sunderland to convince Brighton to splash out £10 million. With his pace and ability to carry the ball, Watson brings qualities that can change a game, and the 4 clubs mentioned could all do with someone who can do that. In the race to finish in the playoff places, the January window is also crucial, and this shows that in many cases clubs are looking at the same options, highlighting how difficult it can be to get deals done. From Brighton's perspective, Watson would benefit from a loan move as he looks to get regular football, and it would be no surprise if he did end up in the Championship, as you would expect him to play week in and week out. Who is this? Well, now he's called Tommy Watson. On Wikipedia he's called Tom Watson. It says footballer born 2006. For those of you just listening and not watching, this is a video that's also available on Spotify and YouTube as a video on Spotify. Tommy, he's 19. He'll be 20 on the 8th of April. He's a winger. He's a left-sided winger. And apparently he's 6'3". So, but he's a bit of a beanpole, as you've just seen from the photos. Played for many of the England age groups, under 17, under 18, under 19 and under 21. Missed out the under 20s, which is basically a de facto under 21 B team, to be fair, because the UEFA competitions aren't at under 20. That's the FIFA World Cup is at under 20. So there you go. So he's been at Sunderland since he was 8 years old, and he decided to leave and go to Sunderland the year after he got them promoted. Now, was that him deciding to leave? Because it says here he signed a new 3-year contract with Sunderland in September 2023, so his contract would have run out in 2026. So they decided, with a year left on his contract, to cash in on him for a 10 million fee. So did they not think he was Premier League quality? But then Brighton did and paid a 10 million fee for him. And now they've realised, actually he's not, because he's been on the bench. He hasn't played that much. He's noted for his pace and directness. Well, that's fantastic, isn't it? And as you can see, so he's 19 years old here. So 18, 17, 16. As a 16-year-old, he played one game in the Championship. And later, the year after that, again, he only played one game. Then he played 20 and scored 2 goals. And obviously helped Sunderland get promoted. Goes to Premier League, Brighton and Hove Albion. So he moves from Sunderland to Brighton and Hove Albion with a year left on his contract still. And this is saying he's only played twice. That's not... Well, no, actually, that might be correct. This is... Okay, so this hasn't been updated. Matches played up to 1st of November. So, yeah, probably won't be up to date. So, he has played mostly in the AFL Cup this year. So, you would imagine if he would have stayed at Sunderland, maybe he would have played more games. But did they want to cash in on him and get him out the door? Which is kind of rough if he's been there since he was 8 years old. But, yeah, there you go. So, if we move on to this is SofaScore.com. If you want to check it out for yourself. These are a list of... So this is the details of his career for the last 12 months. You can see he had the transfer. That's the red, the blue and white arrows are transfer. At the end of the last season, even though they got promoted, he was only getting mid 6 figures. He started off the season well, got 7.6 green bar. He gets injured in late August, September. Looks like he misses a month, comes back, doing so again, but this is in the Premier League. And he gets injured in November, and again, doing so. Left winger. I mean, at these days, that probably means like outside left. The 4-2-3-1 is the left of the three, you would imagine. But if he's 6'3", can you imagine? Femiers is whipping balls in. And he's running on the other side because he's quite quick. He might be able to get on the end of some of them, gliding in at the back post, whether that's to score them or just to knock it down to someone else to score. So if we actually click on this and go back to his games so far this season. So this is okay. So here we go. The first game of the season he played was in a 6-0 thrashing of Oxford United. He scored a goal, got 7.6. And that was it. In September, he's on the bench for them. And then he plays in the EFL Cup. He gets 3 assists. That boot means assists. And again, the 6-0 demolition of Barnsley and the 7.1 rating he gets. And misses a month. September to October, misses a month. He's on the bench for that game. On the bench for the under-21s. Doesn't play in that game against Andorra. And then if we go to October, on the bench. Comes off the bench as they lose 4-2 to Man United. Comes off the bench as they lose 2-0 to Arsenal. And I believe these are all off the bench as well. I don't think because he hasn't started the game. So these are all off the bench. Oh, 6.4, 6.4. So that would, to be fair, that would explain his low rating, because as you've seen, if you covered it, if you watch the stat videos that I do, when players come off the bench, of course they have less time on the pitch, so they have less time to do things that will improve their rating. So this is not necessarily an indictment on his ability to play football. So this is where you would actually have to watch the games, watch his appearances, what he does on and off the ball. Proper scouting, old school, to see, what is he doing? Is he actually a good player? Just he's coming off the bench and he's not really doing much. He got a yellow. He got a yellow card there in that game against Man City? A draw against Man City, away to Man City. Not bad, but you see, Brighton are a good team. Doing quite well. So it's no surprise to see a 19-year-old struggling to get into their team. That's no shame, really. In the FA Cup, he wasn't involved in that. So this is once the transfer window's open. He's not involved. Again, so the transfer window's open. He's not involved in that game. He's on the bench for that game. Not involved in it. So he's not even making the matchday squad. And this is the latest game that he's mentioned. I don't know. So they haven't even listed this weekend's game that they had. So don't know what's going on there. See, weakness is ball control. No outstanding strengths. And again, it's hard to get the data if you're not playing a lot of games. If we click on this is so far this season. You can see the heat map. You can't see. It's off to the right hand side, but I'll tell you. So if you go where it says matches and it says appearances, it says 6 started. It says 0 minutes per game, 12. So that's an averaged out, because the total minutes played is 73. So he's played 73 minutes of football. I believe that is just in the league. Yeah, just Premier League. We can change that to he's mostly played in the EFL Cup. And that says 3 appearances. You can see this. This is a lot better. I've got more data for this. He's playing 3 appearances in the EFL Cup. He started 1. So he didn't even start the game. He started 1. 46 minutes per game. 137 minutes played. And we've got 1 goal. 25% goal conversion. Okay. And then off the right hand side, again, assists is 3, touches 28, big chances created 1, key passes 1.7, accurate passes 81%. Now that's not bad for a winger, but I'm sure that's not the Premier League style to just be whipping balls in, which would lower that percentage. So there you go. And if we look at his career and we go down, so this is the season so far. He's got 1 FA Cup game. 1 minute. Oh, okay. So why was it greyed out then? And he did play in it, but they don't do ratings because it's FA Cup game. That's why there's no rating. They don't, because they can't cover them all because there's so many games, first round, third round, etc. So he did play in it, but he played 1 minute. So he come off the bench and played 1 minute. In the Premier League, 6 games, 73 minutes. EFL Cup, as mentioned, 3 games, 137 minutes, 1 goal, 3 assists. And that was against Oxford, and it was against Barnsley. And then against Arsenal, they lost. Last season, as he won promotion from the division that were in the Championship, he played 21 games for the first team. Played 6 games for the under-21s. Was that about coming back from injury, or was he just a bit part player? Because obviously there's 46 games in the Championship. He only featured in 21 of them. Was that due to injury, or again just to him being in and out of the squad? Or did he come on late? Did he break through at the end of the season, halfway through the season, and take his chance? Grabbed his chance. I don't really know the story behind all that, but there you go. And if we go here, 23-24, again, only 1 game, 8 minutes. 1 game, 8 minutes in the Championship 2 seasons ago. And most in the Premier League too, Division 1. So there you go. This is who he is. I think that pretty much covers it. So again, left winger. right-footed left winger. Basically, Femi Aziz, but on the other side. Hopefully, I mean. So, Amaku scored a goal the other day, but, he's hit and miss. Ballow's hit and miss, but that's what wingers are. They're hit and miss. But this guy, he's hit in this division. He's hit in the playoffs. If we do end up going into the playoffs. So you would imagine coming in on loan, it's got to be worth a shout, especially I don't know if he's talking to that other guy that we're interested in, the keeper, who's come from Sunderland, because obviously they were both at Sunderland last season, together. So maybe they know each other. Maybe they're like besties or something. And let's go to Millwall from till the end of the season. I don't know, but there you go. And talking of that keeper, we've had a little bit of an update on that. I think it's mostly just speculation and rumours. So again, from footballleagueworld.co.uk, here we go. Goatee man. It's a bit young to have a midlife crisis and be growing a goatee, but here you go. So how much Sunderland AFC's Anthony Patterson may cost Millwall as fresh transfer update emerges? So, yes, Millwall are in the market to strengthen their goalkeeping options in the January transfer window, but the option that they're reported to have settled on may not come cheap. Yada yada yada. Let's get to the meat of the matter. Where's the information? They are already closing in on the capture of experienced Sheffield Wednesday midfield talisman Barry Bannon, and reports on Sunday morning are offering further details on the Lions' move for an experienced Championship goalkeeper who's lost his first team place since his team was promoted to the Premier League. They didn't even give him a chance. Now, maybe they played him in pre-season. I don't know what their pre-season was. Maybe they played some good teams in pre-season and he had some games and he didn't do well, and they think, oh, we need a new keeper. But they haven't even given him a game in the Premier League, so how do they know he's not good enough? But so here we go again, Alan Nixon. It seems it's all coming from him. How convenient that he's the one pumping out the Millwall news. Isn't that weird? Reporting on his Patreon this morning, journalist Alan Nixon has reported that Millwall are in advanced talks to sign this promotion-winning keeper, Anthony Patterson. But if Patterson is to make the journey from Wearside to South East London, he might not be cheap. Nixon reports that Sunderland are chasing a loan move and that the Black Cats are after Millwall paying as much of his £25,000 a week wages as possible. Whoa, that's a lot of money for a backup keeper, which suggests he ain't going to be the backup keeper. He also reports that Sunderland want Millwall to pay £8 million on a goalkeeper to take the goalkeeper on a more permanent basis, and will be looking for a commitment from the Lions to take the goalkeeper on a permanent basis to Millwall. He confirms Millwall would prefer the loan option, and their valuation of players closer to £3 million, less than half the amount that Sunderland want for him. Well, here's the thing: is it going to be a commitment, win, lose or draw, or if we get promoted, is it a commitment? So if we go up, we have to sign him, and he's going to be our keeper in the Premier League, or one of them. Obviously, we do have Lucas Jensen. He's been injured, come back, got injured again. You would imagine he'll be back next season. But, so they want to get rid of the guy. And it's literally going to be a loan, like a trial, a loan move, which then is, there's an option there in the thing. And it's all going to be sorted out before. So maybe that's why it's taking so long. Maybe that is why it's taking so long. That, it's not just a simple loan move. It's a loan with a commitment to buy. Not just an option, but a commitment to buy. So, well, there you go. Which, you would imagine that if we do that, and we don't put in the condition that it's only if we get promoted, that's going to be really stupid to pay $8 million to sign a keeper for the Championship, to be honest. So No wonder it's taking so long. Okay. And they just summing up the rest of the thing. Okay. So there you go. Complicated deal. Talking of complicated deals, this popped up the other day. This is from compliancecorrelated.com. Never heard of them. Apparently it's some kind of financial news website, blog, something like that. So, UK EMI, which I think is electronic money instrument, something like that. Guava Pay to be wound up, owing at least $10.8 million dollaroonies. Yikes. And this is from the 22nd of January. So yeah, I told you that over Christmas period, maybe just before Christmas, was it the 23rd, that MasterCard had filed a petition with the courts in London to get a winding up petition to get them, because they owed them money. They owed MasterCard money, so they weren't paying anybody, it seems, at the end. Never mind Millwall. The UK Business and Property Court yesterday ordered a UK electronic money institution, Guava Pay, to be wound up. So this seems to be gone through and been confirmed. The move comes after MasterCard filed a petition in November. So that was in November, they say here, seeking to collect a $10.8 million debt, $10.8 million debt. An insolvency service spokesman confirmed that January 21st winding up order. Compliance Correlated understands that Guava Pay has other large debtors who have also filed claims in the UK. Surely one of them will be Millwall. Guava Pay suspended all customer transactions in September 2025 after it agreed to a voluntary requirement from the Financial Conduct Authority. Under the voluntary requirement, the company had to stop onboarding new UK-based customers and issuing new e-money in the UK, according to its latest filing on Companies House. The FCA was concerned about Guava Pay's customer due diligence, fraud prevention measures, and various aspects of compliance with the regulator's rules, which led to the ongoing review and the ultimate agreement of the voluntary reclamation, according to the filing. Shortly after the VREC was imposed in September, most of Guava Pay's UK staff, some 70 people according to its corporate filings, were made redundant. Some are owed several months' wages, according to industry sources. Yikes. The FCA and Guava Pay did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Guava Pay is a full ecosystem money transfer company offering services such as cross-border payments, fund transfers and gift cards for both business to consumer and business to business. The firm was authorised by the FCA as an e-money institution in 2019. It's partnered with UK football clubs including Crystal Palace, Millwall and Glasgow Rangers to provide multi-stage reward cards with exclusive perks and benefits. Elkan Nazibov, the company's former money laundering reporting officer and current managing director, received the Freedom of the City of London Award and Lord Mayor's Award in September 2025. So this would have been round about when it was going down, because they haven't. Shortly after the VREG was imposed in September, so they got an award in September when they weren't paying their staff and it was all going bandy. Wow. Outstanding debt. Well, Guava Pay faces multiple lawsuits for outstanding debts. For example, MasterCard's winding up petition. Is that online anywhere? I think it is. There's a thing here, it's a PDF. If you click on this, it goes to a PDF file. So maybe it's there. I'm not going to do it live on stream in case it does something. But I'll look at it tomorrow. You can come onto this website, compliancecorrelated.com. Check for yourself. Guava Pay allegedly entered a license agreement with MasterCard on August 21, 2020, but failed to settle principal amounts totaling $10 million by September 8th, 2025. The firm also incurred at least $800,000 in fees, charges, and penalties that MasterCard was unable to recover between September the 8th and October the 20th, 2025, due to insufficient funds. Where's the money gone? They've done an Arthur Fowler. They've nicked the money for the Christmas Club. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Another lawsuit concerns Guava Pay sponsorship deal with Millwall. According to an article by the Mirror, the football club has initiated legal proceedings to recover the outstanding balance owed under a front of shirt sponsorship deal. The firm allegedly discontinued its services to Millwall, leading to contractual breaches. Well, no, what happened was basically because they got suspended by the FCA, they couldn't provide the services anymore. And what I mean by that is Mill decided to, they made the stadium contactless. You have to no cash. What a great idea that is when you decide to go with a company like Guava Pay to provide all your machines and all your payment processing. Congratulations. So where's all that money gone? How much? What did they lose? Was it not just the shirt sponsorship money? Was it other money? Interesting. Guava Pay amended accounts. According to its latest accounts, Guava Pay recorded revenues of £12.4 million and a net profit of £2.1 million in 2023. However, its revenue doubled to £23.3 million in 2024, with a net profit of £1.6 million, which it attributed to aggressive marketing and new product rollouts. In terms of assets, the company started out with net assets of £151,000 in October 2015, which grew to £653,000 within a year. These then fell to £475,000 in 2020 before rising to £1.7 million in 2021. Although the figure suggests an upward trend, Guava Pay also amended its financial statements for the same period on multiple occasions. For example, there are two statements for the December 2023 cycle reporting two different net assets of £4.9 million and £10.5 million. So they've kept two sets of books, but for some bizarre reason they filed both of them. So they filed one set of accounts and then they came back later and said, "Oh no, that's not true. We have to amend the accounts, and these are the accounts," which is just bizarre again. And I covered that at the time. I mentioned that if you go to Company's House and if you search Company's House Guava Pay and then go to filing history, you'll see it there. And it's just weird. It's like, that's not normal, is it? That's not normal. So again, where is the money gone? Where has the money gone? Now, here's the thing though. Guava Pay apparently is still working in other countries. I think it's in Canada and Middle East or somewhere. So how are they still doing it if MasterCard gave them the old Evo? I think they got a license in Azerbaijan to carry on from their financial authorities. So weird. What the hell is going on, man? What's going on? But yeah, financial crime indeed. What a crime. Now, here we go. Get ready for this. This is insanely boring, but here we go. We're back on the planning application. Told you before, all of the pre-building conditions have been met. The ones that were listed, here we go. They've started to post up new ones. So we're still going. This is more than a marathon. This is like trying to walk around the world, on foot. This is, just an Herculean task of bureaucracy, red tape, filings. It's been going on for 4 years now, and it's probably going to go on for a fair old while longer, But hopefully at the end of it, what we're going to get is beautiful training ground in a beautiful location with close links to the motorway, which will enable us to get players who want to commute from the Midlands and the North and do it in quite quick fashion. So, this one, they've put this up, Monday the 12th of January, so this has just come up to this week, right? There's like a delay from when it went in to when they put it on this website. So this just came up this week. Details pursuant to Condition 8 Part 2, Archaeological Watching Brief of the training of the planning application for Mill's new training ground. If we move on to, if you click on documents, you'll get this, and then if you click on, so this is how long it's got to take for this to be granted and approved. Hopefully first time. Hopefully we don't have to keep going back for this one. There's only one consultation, that's the Kent County Council Archaeological Officer, and they've got until the 13th of February to respond. Hopefully, they'll be back before then. And we've got a determination date of the 9th of March 2026. So I don't know if that's just for this condition or for the thing overall, but, because I think that's around the time when they want to start building. So, let's have a look at the plans. This is the plans here. It's about 20 pages to strap in for this. This is, again, you can find this at pa.sevenoaks.gov.uk. Search for planning application, and the easiest way to do it would be to search for the postcode TN15 6AY. Why not? This is from Canterbury Archaeological Trust Limited. These are the agents who have undertaken the work and published this report, and you can see there they have all the credentials. Loads of the credentials. Apparently they're a registered charity. How are you a registered charity? Oh, that's interesting. So they're registered as a charity for some reason, even though they do business. They are business. Right, what we're doing. So don't worry, I'm not going to read all this. Yeah. So here we go. Written scheme of investigation sets out the requirements for the brief. Millwall is proposing the construction of the training academy. Town and Country Planning Act, yeah. Understand. They granted approval on the 28th of February 2023. Yep. Been a long old time. Been a long old time. Condition 8. So let's read this. Condition 8, this is what this is about. Prior to commencement of development, the applicant or their agents or successors in title will secure the implementation of archaeological field evaluation works in accordance with the specification and written timetable which has been submitted to and approved by the local planning authority. That has been done because the condition that we're talking about today is condition 8 II, as in 2. Following on from the evaluation, any safeguarding measures to ensure preservation in situ of important archaeological remains and or further archaeological investigation and recording of a specification and timetable which has been submitted to and improved by the local planning authority, etc. The development shall be carried out in accordance with these approved details. And this is to ensure that features of archaeological interest are properly examined and recorded, and that due regard is had to the preservation in situ of important archaeological remains, and to record with policy EN4 of the Sevenoaks allocations the development management plan. The field evaluation for Part 1 was conducted between the 1st of September and the 30th of September 2025, and this is what Mark Fairbrother was referencing in his interview that he gave, what was it, a month ago? About, they've been down and they've been digging it all up. This is what they're doing. They excavated 152 trial trenches. Wow, 152. The evidence that they found comprised 2 linear features and 1 pit of post-medieval date, along with 72 modern and 31 undated features and deposits. There was no evidence for prehistoric, for Roman, Anglo-Saxon, or medieval activity. The WSI is pursuant to Condition 8 Part 2 and relates to additional targeted archaeological monitoring of construction groundworks through provision of a watching brief. So they have dug up these trenches, the trial trenches, and they found, a few things, but nothing really major. What they've then decided, they've had to guess if there is going to be something down there, where is it going to be? And when the builders work in that area, they need to be careful. They need to look for something. And if they find it, they need to stop, and we need to go in and have a look. So, the requirement for each and the location of each targeted watching brief has been determined following consultation, yada yada yada, on behalf of the client and the senior archaeological officer at Kent County Council, Conservation Heritage Group. Well, that should mean, if they've had an involvement in writing this piece of work, that should mean when they get consulted, that should be approved then, no? So watching brief area 1 is situated in the southwest of the proposed development to comprise monitoring of groundworks associated with grounds person store, yada yada yada. The area lies immediately northwest of an undated fire pit and south of an area of scattered colluvium. What the hell is colluvium? Does anyone know what colluvium is? Don't know. Bear with me while I Google it. Colluvium. What do you think it is? Have you guess? If you don't know, guess. Is it feces? Human feces? It is material which accumulates at the foot of a steep slope. It's general name for loose, unconsolidated sediments that have been deposited at the base of hill slopes. So dirt, rock, detritus, and soil accumulate at the foot of a slope. So again, dirt. Wow. Okay. They found some dirt, guys. They found some dirt, which might reflect remnants of a former dry valley or natural feature which could have been attractive to prehistoric activity, and is closest to St Edmund's Church and is adjoining manorial settlement and a 19th century regular courtyard farm Portobello house located immediately south of the proposed development. Okay. WB area. So watching brief area 2 is situated in the central and east side of the proposed development to comprise monitoring of groundworks associated with the new access road, the security and the parking. And this is because this area provides an extensive soil strip area and will complement evaluation trenches 86, 87, 88, 96 and 107. Okay. Bit random, but whatever. Watching brief area 3 is situated in the northwest of the proposed development to comprise monitoring of groundworks associated with drainage basin E with an appropriate area, etc., etc. This area lies south of Gallows Wood, a designated ancient woodland in an area where parch marks may reflect historic woodland management activity. What's okay? So they cut down some trees there. So what does that mean? What are you going to find underneath there then? You're going to find a saw that they used to cut the trees down? Like, what's you know what I mean? Alright. It is what it is. If significant remains are revealed, etc., you need to secure mitigation. The Kent County Council HCG will be notified and will be kept up to date with the progress of the work, and they will tell them if anything significant has been found. Yada yada yada. And then they're talking about the site location. geological and all that kind of historical, geological. Let's see. So they'll tell us if they found anything here. Bedrock geology within the proposed development area is mapped as undifferentiated chalk, overlain by superficial geological deposits of clay with flints. Archaeological evaluation confirmed the presence of superficial clay with flints formation deposits in 149 trenches. So they dug, 152? So no geology was encountered in trenches 118, 190, 129, where modern truncation and made ground was of too great a depth for any potential archaeology to survive. The superficial geology lay between 0.13 metres and 0.47 metres below ground at the height of 140.88 metres in the northwest and 160.30 metres in the southwest. Deposits of colluvium overlay with the clay with flint formation in trenches, yada yada yada. The topography of the proposed development area slopes down in a northerly direction. The proposed development does not directly impact any World Heritage Site Schedule monuments, registered battlefields, or conservation areas. It does lie within an area of archaeological importance. The archaeological background comprises an examination of evidence from the Kent Historic Environment Record and other sources, mainly within a 1 kilometre search radius of the proposed development area. A desk-based archaeological assessment report was produced for the site by RPS and has been part reproduced here, which is here below. So an archaeological evaluation was conducted, as mentioned, between September, for the whole of September. They identified clay with flints. No evidence for prehistoric Roman, Anglo-Saxon, or medieval. Post-medieval features comprising 2 linear features and a pit, along with some 72 modern and 31 undated features and deposits were recorded. Recorded archaeological features were generally located in the southern half of the development, with much of the northern half subject to modern disturbances and extensive dumps of modern levelling deposits. Yes, because it was sloped. It's still slightly sloped, so I'd imagine they probably tried to level it out. Features that were identified were predominantly modern or undated, with many likely associated with a former woodland plantation represented by probable tree boles. One fire pit location in Trench 6, located in the southwest corner of the site, may be of limited archaeological interest, but a full excavation and an extension of the trench area where the pit was encountered did not produce any significant archaeological data. So here's the thing, back in the day, obviously, they would throw things into fires, and that may be of use, and they used to dig holes in the ground and throw their rubbish in it and then cover it up, much like we do today with landfill, but on a smaller scale. Prehistoric stuff, basically up until, what's AD 43, that's the Roman invasion of Great Britain, is it not? So whilst no Paleolithic evidence has been found in close proximity to the proposed development area, late 19th century discoveries of Paleolithic flint implements are recorded in the surrounding area. Surface finds of at least 2 hand axes were discovered near Brands Hatch, located just over 1 kilometre to the north of the proposed development area, and hand axes and flint implements were found near South Ash Manor, located 1.4 kilometres away. The presence of Paleolithic material can be notoriously difficult to predict and is typically dependent on the presence of an appropriate underlying geological sequence, such as terrace gravels or brick earth, as well as suitable topography and access to nearby resources and water. Yes, they needed to live alongside rivers in those days. So if there was not a river nearby, probably you wouldn't have any prehistoric stuff near you. Later prehistoric activity is represented by a collection of 3 Mesolithic truncheon axes recorded from South Ash, located 480 metres to the southeast of the proposed development area. There are no archaeological features or finds dated to the later prehistoric period within 1 kilometre of the site, and this may be due to a lack of previous fieldwork in the area nearby, or maybe a true reflection of the lack of occupation from the nearby area, perhaps as a result of the presence of dense woodland. Yes, there was woodland everywhere, and so much wood has been cut down that you would not recognise the country if you went back in time. There would just be trees everywhere. Romano-British, yes, AD 43 to 450. The only find of a Roman date recovered in proximity to the proposed element area comprises a 3rd century coin find spot recorded from the area to the northeast of the site. So just one coin, or they found more than one coin? Archaeological evidence from this period is limited, and the proposed area is likely to remain rural at this time and located away from the areas of settlement and occupation. A 1st century Romano-British farmstead was discovered in 1957 at Eastwood Farm, wherever that is, and 2 1st century AD cremation burials were found in the 1960s at Eastwood Cottage, each located roughly 1.1 kilometres northeast of the proposed development. If you go, obviously it's outside the 1 kilometre search that they did, but I believe near Eynsford they found a Roman villa. Is it Lullingstone Castle? Was it Lullingstone Villa? And there's an English heritage site there. So it would suggest that the Romans were in the area, but not here clearly, because it was a wood. Anglo-Saxon period 450 to 1066 and medieval 1066 to 1540. No Anglo-Saxon finds or features are recorded in proximity to the proposed development area. The Domesday Survey of 1086, obviously conducted by William the Bastard, did not record a taxable manor at West Kingsdown, with the nearest relevant estates located to the north at Forcombe, to the west at Maplescombe, and to the east at Ash. And you can view them on the Open Domesday 2025. The rectangular earthworks of a small medieval manorial site and associated fields are recorded near to St Edmund's Church, located 208 metres to the southwest of the site. The church contains fabric of Saxo-Norman date, and its presence suggests a possible earlier date for the nearby earthworks. Situated 600 metres southeast of the church lies Crowhurst Farm Cottages, which is a medieval hall-house that dates to 1450 with later 19th century alterations. 2 medieval coin find spots are recorded in proximity to the proposed development area. So they have found coins nearby. A coin of 13th century date is recorded from the area to the northeast, with a 14th century coin also recorded in this area. It's likely the proposed development area was utilised for agriculture or pasture during these periods, forming land associated with the manorial site at Kingsdown. So basically what they did is they gave land to people that wanted to be bishops, archbishops, holy men, and they basically run it as a kind of like a farm. They had to do all this. They had to, make their own food and all that, and they would bring in people to help do that under the protection of the religious people there, and they're up and down the country. So they're suggesting here that manorial site at Kingsdown, they would have used the site of the new training ground as pasture land, grazing land for animals, or pasture. Most of our records, so post-medieval modern, so 1540 to today, most of the HER records for the post-medieval period begin to pertain to 18th and 19th century inhumation burials identified at St Edmund's Church, and as well as the number scattered in post-medieval farmsteads that include Portobello Farm, Crowhurst Farm, and Hever Place. Historic mapping indicates that in 1769 the proposed development area comprised part of open land located between Falcombe Road and Crowhurst Lane, with the site remaining as open land by 1798, with the exception of the southern area which formed part of woodland. The 1841 West Kingsdown Parish Tithe map is more detailed and shows the site as 4 open parcels of land utilised for agriculture, with the southwestern part of the site shown as woodland. All internal field boundaries had been removed by 1868. So that would have been hedges and stuff like that to separate them into different fields. They were removed in 1868 with the site forming part of a single larger area of land crossed by a footpath. The area of woodland to the southwest remained unchanged. Extensive areas of woodland plantation were shown across the proposed development area by 1895, as well as a number of footpaths providing access to various plantation areas. The farmstead of Portobello Farm to the south of the proposed development area is the first shown on the Northern Survey map of 1895. A series of rectilinear enclosures shown within the site on LiDAR data appeared to correlate with the historic plantation enclosures dated from 1895 onwards. So LiDAR, it can penetrate under the ground and it can, see where the earth has been dug. You can see all that stuff. Situated within 130 metres northwest of the proposed development area, the Brands Hatch Racing Circuit was established in 1926 and later extended in 1959. A 1940 aerial photograph, who did that? Was it the Germans? Confirms the character of the proposed development area, comprising extensive areas of plantation. This is further shown in photographs of 1960 and 1968. The M20 carriageway was constructed in the 1960s, bisecting the northeast quadrant of the plantation. So they took some of the land to build the motorway. It would have been larger. Thus creating the site's eastern boundary. A small structure can be seen in the centre of the site with a track leading southwards towards Portobello Farm, labelled as Kingsdown House in 1968. And this was an orchard. What they planted, the trees that they planted, the woodland that they planted, was seemingly orchards. But orchards not good enough for apples to eat, seemingly to make cider. By 1990, areas of plantation have been partially cleared across northern and western areas of the site to be replaced by scrubland. The site has been almost entirely cleared of all plantation and utilised for agriculture. LiDAR evidence indicates a linear earthwork at the western boundary and a further earthwork at the eastern boundary are likely to be modern in origin. They built like a shed or some kind of cottage thing there. Undated features in proximity to the proposed development area comprise 4 possible pits, one of which may be associated with a field boundary, and quarry pits of unknown date recorded at Churchwood. As part of a pre-development commencement works, a geophysical survey of the site was undertaken in January 2024. The survey identified anomalies of an agricultural origin, with former field boundaries identified across the survey area, along with area of possible made ground in the north. The report went on to state that no anomalies suggestive of agricultural features were identified. However, anomalies of an undetermined origin were also identified, and while they may be of an agricultural, natural or modern origin, an archaeological explanation can not be fully ruled out. Anomalies in relating to natural variations were identified in the west of the survey area. Overhead cables, a service cable, and disturbances related to the proximity of the M20 may have impacted data by obscuring any further anomalies. Yes. Okay, I think that's it. Objectives, observation, establish the presence of archaeological remains within the site, determine the extent, condition, nature, character, quality, etc. So basically they're telling you how they're going to do their job. Of course, you've all seen this on Time Team on Channel 4, I'm sure. Using a machine, a flatbed bucket, etc. Tooth bucket can be used to remove compacted deposits, etc. Basically, about recording what they find, digital photographic record, etc. Basically saying how to do it. If they find treasure, obviously they have to report it, and if they find a dead body, they literally have to call the police in, even though it's a fucking skeleton that's turned to dust. They need to call the police in, the police turn up, and then they get the coroner, and then the coroner goes, yeah, that's been in the ground for a while. I would imagine that's not a modern murder case that needs to be solved by the police. But yeah. Should human remains be encountered, the monitoring archaeologists will halt groundworks and inform the client, RPS and Kent County Council. Initially, any finds of human remains should be left in situ, covered and protected. If the removal of human remains is determined to be necessary as part of the scheme, a Minister of Justice licence, oh god, more paperwork, under Section 25 of the Burial Act 1957 will be obtained. The need for a Ministry of Justice licence applies to both inhumation and cremated remains. CAT will comply with the conditions of the licence before proceeding, so that will delay everything. Good lord. And then they're going to give a report at the end, and they're going to give it to the client, to Kent Historic Environment Record, and to their own records. There you go. It's basically saying how they're going to do the job. Nothing specific to what we've seen at the site. Basically, just telling everyone how they do their job, which is just like balls on the table. Like they're showing them they know what they're doing, and you can see here they just reprinted the Kent County Council Heritage specification archaeological watch and brief works. So they've just reprinted the rules, basically copy and pasted the rules from Kent County Council. So I think this is probably where that Kent County Council officer, this is their what they've had to do with it as well, basically. So that's their consultation. We have to do a full one. So here's the site. Nationally, locally, and right up close. And as you can see, so these are all the trenches that they dug. Now, I don't understand why some of them are white and some of them are coloured in. I don't know what that means. They didn't really explain that. But these are the areas, so watching brief. So these are the areas where they think there might be something. The ones in green, WB Area 3, WB Area 2, WB Area 1. And here we go. This is it overlaid on the plans of the mill training ground, and there you go. Now, interested to know. Now, obviously, they're looking for old stuff, not modern stuff. And as you can see, if you've got good pattern recognition, you may notice that there's a wide gap in the middle that they haven't bothered to dig anywhere, and in the southeast as well, a large chunk there. Now, why have they done that? Well, in this area, so if you go to WB Area 2 and then follow that southwest, there's a massive gap there. That's where the buildings were. That's where they know there were buildings there, and that's where they put in apparently power lines and stuff under the ground. And there might be a gas line, a cesspit down there as well. So they didn't want to dig there because they know there's going to be stuff there that's modern. So what would have happened is when they dug that stuff originally and put that in the Victorian period, they would have fucked everything up anyway. So there's nothing there unless you go down even further, which they're not doing here because these are test trenches. So there's no point doing test trenches when you know the Victorians already built stuff there, and it would have screwed everything up anyway. So there you go. So this is it. This is what they're doing. We're still going on. They're still pushing ahead. It's still happening. And Godspeed. So there you go. Now, if that wasn't boring enough, are you still awake? Because here come the stats. Post-match stats, obviously on the Sunday, day after a game. We cover what the stats say. What do the stats say? Well, I think they say we absolutely fucking obliterated them. 24 shots to 3, 10-2 open play, 8-1 set piece, 4-0 counter attack, 1 penalty and 1 own goal. How about that? All of the 5 rated players are Millwall players. All of the top 5 shot takers are Millwall players. So, Millwall create a high number of chances relative to the position. We're effective at creating goal-scoring opportunities from long shot situations, counter-attacks, and from set pieces, and we were strong at finishing. Well, were we though? I mean, we had 24 shots. We only scored 4 goals. We were caught offside often. So, 24 shots, 4 goals. That is a 16% conversion rate, which is decent at this level. But you would, to get 24 shots, you would imagine you might score more than 4. They were mostly going down their left-hand side, and we were mostly going down our right-hand side, which is the same side. Shot directions, shot zones. Yeah, for some reason, this bizarre reason. So on this website, whoscored.com, the home team is always in this orange colour, and the away team is always in this blue colour, which is kind of weird because it's the reverse of the red and blue, but bear with. 78% of our shots were inside the 18-yard box, only 9% were outside, and 13% were in the 6-yard box. Wow. Action zones, only 22% was in our third. Player positions. Wow. Look at that. So they were trying to do what, 4-1-3-1, something like that? 4-1-4? That didn't really work out, did it? And we basically had 3 up front, 2 out wide. Yeah. Not bad, eh? Not bad at all. Now, let's move on to this from whoscored.com. Here's a match events. Obviously, the own goal after 7 minutes. A yellow card for them. They made a substitution at half time. Forgot about that. But I do remember the 3 changes they made in the 55th minute, which then they started playing worse. Like, okay. And to get that through, the goalkeeper pretended to have something in his eye, delayed the game for about 7 minutes. They ended up having 7 minutes of injury time, and they ended up conceding 2 goals in injury time. They could have got away with a 1-0, 2-0, and they ended up losing 4-0. Like, what great management there. What great management. Only 1 yellow card for us, 1 yellow card for them. The second goal finally came in the 81st minute, and that's about the time when all the Charlton fans decided to leave, which is funny because before the game they were moaning about being kept behind after the game. You know, they were moaning to the Met Police, to the council, to the Safety Advisory Group, to Millwall, to anyone that would listen. They were moaning about being kept behind after the game. So all's well that ends well. You know, all those the Millwall staff working in the away end, they got to go home early. They didn't have to stay 45 minutes after the game because the away fans bolted as soon as that second goal went in. And if they didn't, they certainly did when the fucking third one went in. You could hear the clattering of chairs. So yeah, let's have a look. Here we go. If you look at the top left and the top right where the club badges are, you can see the average player rating for each team. It's 7.29 for Millwall, 6.15 for Charlton. That is more than one difference, which is 10%. This is out of 10. So that is a massive difference at this level. I think this is the highest I've ever seen in terms of the difference between 2 teams in a league game. 7.29 to 6.15, so that's 1.1 difference. I mean, my goodness. And they've given Taylor, because obviously did very well defensively, but obviously scored a goal, got to 9.1. A 9.1. You got Aziz on 8.4, you got Doughty on 8.3. Crumbs 7.4, Negley 7.8, Cooper 7.7, and then it's mid-6s all the way down, except for the 2 lads who came off the bench and scored. So, I mean, how about that? Their geezer scored their own goal, 5.3. And, yeah, so let's have a look. So, we actually only had 23 shots. 24 attempts on goal, included the one that was the own goal. So that's 24 attempts on goal, but we had 23 shots, if that makes sense. Because obviously that wasn't a shot. It was them shooting on their own goal. these are the players who had the shots. Imaku had 4 shots when he came on. Taylor had 2. Negley had 1. Coburn 2. Langstaff 2. Femias is 5. Crammer 4. Possession 53 to 46. Now this is quite rare for us. This is a game where we had more possession than the opposition and we actually won the game. Quite a rare thing for us. And mostly on the ball was Doughty with 7.1%, more than Billy Mitchell was on 7. So this is the match time percentage. Basically, I don't think, obviously games are 90 minutes, but they don't actually, the ball in play is not 90 minutes. So there you go. If we move on to pass success percentage, they actually beat us in this. It's 70 to 71. And so Coburn 88, Langstaff 88, Negley 83, and Crocombe 52, Billy Mitchell 73, dribbles 6 to 4. Okay. Aerials 140 to 31. Wow. Taylor with 14, Cooper with 11. Not bad, eh? Not bad. But Jones for them with 11. Coburn with 0. Tackles, 10 to 19. So obviously they had to do more tackling because they were doing more defending. And every single one of their starting 11 had a tackle, except for the keeper. And for us, Langstaff with 2. Doughty with 2. Denor with 2. So again, pressing from the front. Tackling, winning the ball. Corners 6 to 3. These are the players who won those corners. And indeed, I think Amaku won a corner that we scored from. That Taylor scored his goal from. So, another thing that he did well in the game, apart from his goal. Dispossessed, so having the ball taken off of you. Okay. So, moving on to this from WhoScored.com. Let's have a look at the ratings. Here we go. 9.12, 8.41, 8.3, 7.76, 7.74, 7.6 for Amaku. Only had 15 minutes on the pitch. Kundal, 7.11. Only had, 15 minutes on the pitch. Basically, it's all very good. They're all above 6.5, except for Sack Sturge, who was a late substitute. Ivanovic is 6.25. He had 12 touches of the ball in the 64 minutes he came on the 6. So he had 33 minutes on the pitch. Would that be right? Yeah, thereabouts. And Josh Coburn, 17 touches of the ball in the 64 minutes that he had on the pitch. 2 shots, 0 on target, the header over the bar, and that awful miss. He got the lowest rating of 6.02. So, probably was better when he was coming off the bench, to be fair. If we look at the shots, so we had 23 shots, but how many were actually on target? Not that many. Femi's is 1, Maku 1, 5 and 1, 4 and 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 1. Crammer 4 and 0. Yikes. Touches of the ball. Doughty 76, Crammer 64, Ziz, Billy Mitchell. Cool. Okay. Aerials 1, as mentioned. Taylor 14, Cooper with 11, Crammer with 5. Just mad numbers putting up there. Offense. Okay, that hasn't come up. Let's click it again, reload it. Let's click on that. Get rid of that. Let's click that. Here we go. Offsides. How many offsides? 3. 2 from Femi's is, obviously the one you put the ball in there, that was offside. Crammer 1. Defensively, obviously we know about the tackles. Dow 2, as mentioned, Langstaff 2. Yep. Obviously, if they don't have the ball that much, we don't have to tackle them. Interceptions, they weren't really attacking that much. They only had 3 shots all game, so these numbers aren't going to be high. Taylor with 3, Doughty with 2, Billy Mitchell with 2. Obviously, Doughty playing at left back. Cooper with 7 clearances. Taylor with 4, Doughty with 2, Billy Mitchell with 2, and block shots. Well, if they only had 3 shots, one of them was on target, one of them got blocked, and I assume the other one must have been wide. So there you go. Now, while we're here, let's click on passing. Who had the most passes? It was Billy Mitchell 49, then Negley 42, Doughty 40. Passing accuracy. So Ivanovic 100% but only from 9 passes. Again, 100 from 5, 104. So, I mean, standout's got to be Negley, 83.3% passing accuracy from 42 passes. And then you've got to look at Billy Mitchell, 73.5 from 49 passes. Good stuff. But then, obviously, here's the thing, though. If you've got Femias whipping balls in, you've got Crammer whipping balls in. Obviously, if they're just blindly whipping balls in, then obviously the percentage is going to be down. Because they're not technically passing to another Millwall player. They're playing it into space, playing it into a dangerous area, and hoping that a Millwall player runs onto it. So, whether that does or does not happen depends whether that's going to be an accurate pass or not. Crosses, inaccurate crosses, as mentioned just previously, whipping crosses in. 12 crosses, 4 accurate. Accurate just means believe that they found a Millwall player. So 12 and 4, 11 and 4. Crammer 3 and 2. Langstaff 2 and 0. Camille Negley again 2 and 2. Did get the assist from the penalty that he fucked up. So now, no FB ref. I told you about this last week. Did you miss it? Okay, go back and look. Basically, they've been told to stop publishing the advanced stats by the company that provided them to them. They got sent a cease and desist. So I don't know if they want paying for them or what, but it is what it is. So I've had to find a new website, and that new website is FOTMob. So let's see how long this lasts. Basically, what I wanted to do is just find out the XG, and the XG is 3.97 to 0.14. 23 shots to 3, 6 to 1 on target, 6 big chances, 5 big chances missed. Accurate pass, we know all that. Fouls committed 8 to 13, corners 6 to 3. Okay, so 23 shots, only 7 on 6 on target, but 7 were off target. So you think, well, what happened to the rest of them? Well, they may have been on target. On target only means it's heading towards the goal. So either the keeper saves it or it goes in. Those are the only 2 options with a shot on target. However, it may have been on target and it hit a defender in front of the goal, which means it's a block shot. It doesn't automatically mean that, if however many shots, however many were on target, the rest of them are off target. We had 10 block shots. So the Charlton defenders blocked the shot from going towards the goal and being on target. Shots inside the box 21. Shots outside the box 2. Again, we just absolutely smashed them. Defense tackles 10 to 19, 9 to 5 interceptions, 1 to 10 block, 21 to 45 clearances, 1 to 3 keeper saves. So their keeper made 3 saves and they still ended up losing 4-0. Jules won, so 66 to 61. Ground Jules won 26 to 30, so 46% for us to 54 for them. Obviously, they were doing more defending. They had to do more of that stuff. Aerial Jules won 56%, 40 to 31. Successful drills 6 to 4. We don't have a list of shots like FB Ref, but what we do have is all of the shots. So all of the shots are plotted on a map. If we go back to the beginning, obviously the first goal did come from Langstaff's header. That was on target that the keeper had to save, and he saved it by passing it, patting it onto his own player, which led to the own goal. So Langstaff had a header on target, which he was here. You can see on the map, that's where he was. It's all of the blue circles are Millwall shots. The blue circles that are coloured in light blue are shots that were on target, and as you click on it, the ones that then get covered in red, a red circle and then a line, those are the ones that we're talking about up here. And you can see the red circles on the right hand side of Charlton's ones, they only had the one shot on target. So if we go through all of this, this is their own goal. We didn't even get any XG for that. You don't get any XG for own goals. So, there you go. Coburn header. That was over the bar. Their shot. Another shot for them. That's Femi Aziz. Kramer off target. It's not even, you can't even see. It's not. Oh, it was blocked. And blocked again. Poof. I don't know why did it get smaller? Why did it get smaller though? I don't know. But it was wide right. Aziz. Coburn. Oh, I think the XG. Yeah, maybe the XG, it gets bigger and smaller. Because that's 0.12. That's 0.61. How did he miss that? Hopefully, he hasn't broken his foot by kicking the bar. Taylor blocked. Aziz blocked. Aziz, that was a close one, wasn't it? That was a close one. Off target. Kramer blocked. Aziz blocked. Cooper off target to the right, header. Kramer off target, way off target. You can see the line is nearly going out for a throw-in. And then Maku off target. I think that was the one that is side netting. Was it? Or was there another one? Maybe, because he had 4, didn't he? Langstaff get blocked. Maku got blocked. The goal, hey! Taylor, header from the corner. Maku blocked. Ivanovic blocked. Negley penalty saved. And that's where he put it, by the way. And it went down. An XG of 0.179 and it goes down after you shoot. And then Kundal, can't miss that. You can't miss that. He's on the goal line, basically. And there you go. How about that? And Amaku, Bosch. There you go. And they had a last shot way off to the left of the goal. And there you go. If we go down. Now this is the thing. So the thing with this, which is not, I don't enjoy compared to FB Ref, is that they've got the players listed. And they're just all listed together. You can't separate between Millwall and Charlton, although, because Millwall players were so highly rated and the Charlton players were not. Most of the Millwall players are at the top anyway. But I mean, if you want to look for XG by player, obviously Luke Kundal, he's right on the line. Camille Negley, obviously a penalty. Josh Coburn, Femi Aziz, Kramer. Expected assists. So these are the ones who are creating chances for other people. Jake Cooper. Yeah, Jake Cooper, getting on the ball, pumping balls long. 0.4, etc. Yep. So, attack. Shots on target. Okay. Successful dribbles. 2 of 5 for Negley. Okay. So again, it would be nice if you could separate between teams, but passes into the final third. Doughty, Kramer. Their keeper. Just pumping it along. Although I'll keep her at 8 as well. Accurate passes. Again, Billy Mitchell, 36 of 49, 73%. Accurate long balls. Okay. Defensive contributions. What does that mean? Is the total sum. So add it all up. Okay. So if you add all this up, That's 22. So obviously they're doing more defending. You've got JQ with 8. So again, we weren't doing that much defending, as seen on the previous thing. The duels, the ground duels, duels won, duels lost. 14 and 2. So that's why you got high score on the other thing. Aerial duels won, 14 and 16. Yeah. It's good stuff, innit? Good stuff, crikey. Goalkeeper, Max Croken, 1 save. He only faced 0.03 of an XG. Basically, that's 3%. The shot that he faced had a 3% chance of going in, which is 3 times out of 100 that goes in. So not very good. Not a very good shot. Accurate long balls, 29%. Accurate passes, 52%. So yeah, I mean, there you go. I mean, absolute slaughter. Absolute slaughter. And on that note, if you're still here, thank you for watching and goodbye.